This is Boneless VR Devlog 4, and I have some more stuff to show for today. So, in the last video, I was explaining some issues with the way my rig worked. And some of the main issues were, as I explained, being able to walk away from your hand, or, you know, your forearm or your body parts phasing through things. So I fixed a lot of that today, and I'll explain everything I did. So yeah, you might not visually see a lot of differences, but a lot of work went on in the actual player to try and make everything feel better. So basically, first thing I'll explain is how the locomotion works. So I pulled a thing called a hexabody from Stress Level 0, the guys who made Bone Lab and Boneworks. They use this in their game, and it's like a sort of a standard system for physics VR. And basically the way it works is that instead of kinematically moving a rigid body like I was before, just to move your player around, you have what's called a ball, or not, what's called a locomotion sphere, or a monoball at your feet that just rolls around to move you around physically. So everything works with forces how it should, and it just feels a lot better. So yeah, and your chest is mounted to that ball with a spring kind of joint, and if I jump, it just compresses that joint and expands it, so it physically bounces you off the floor. And your hands are mounted to that chest using joints. So they don't. So another issue is that I was trying to get room scale locomotion to work, because if you have a rig that's like a physical rig, then it won't move with your head. So I had to take into account your head motion in real life, and then sort of offset the physical body by that motion. And a part of the issue is that your hands kind of drift because you're kind of applying multiple motions. So it's not perfect, and I need to make it a little better, but it's in a good place right now to show off. Oh yeah, and about the arms, this is an important thing. Before, I was using just a rigid body or a physical object that you force towards the controller with position and rotation. So there was no arms calculated in that equation. So you could do some weird things that didn't make much sense. But now, the only way I can explain it is that it works how it does in real life. So your arm, the base of your arm at your shoulder, is just mounted to your chest, and then your forearm is mounted to that arm, and it's locked positionally, but it can rotate. And the arm is the same, or the hand is the same with the forearm. So what that means is everything is just locked together and then just rotating. So this is all targeted to the inverse kinematics, or the target position of the body, and it's just rotating towards those targets of where they should be. So your forearm, because your hand is locked to your forearm, your hand will never go beyond your forearm. So as you can see, my forearm is fully colliding with things here, and it works really nicely. And part of that is that when you use multiple forces along the arm to target your hand to the controller, what it means is that with weight, I'll show you here because I have a new weight system. With weight, it takes into account those forces when you try and lift the object. So say I try and lift it further out from my body here, it's a lot harder to lift than if I just push it up, because that's how rotations work. It's easier to rotate something if you're closer to the original point of rotation here. So that's how that works. And it's not perfect, and the interaction is not perfect, but it's getting there, especially with the new arm system. Break. There we go. You can see here we can still grab things nicely, and the grabbing is sort of off as well because I had to use because of the new arm rig system, but I'll try and fix that a little better as well. And yeah, and two-handed interaction is also not, I didn't even try and get that done because I need to redo that. But a lot of stuff is still done. So yeah, you can see the arms they're not as nicely positioned because I'm using new calculations because of the way the new arm rig is. But it's not horrible. And you can still grab this nicely. Oh yeah, and two-handed interaction feels much better because now you have multiple arm joints calculating where the interactable should be. And with climbing, it feels a lot, I think, better as well because of the new arm rig. So it definitely feels different, but I do think it works nicer. But yeah, the hands, they do drift slightly because of the new arm rig and the way I'm doing room scale, so I need to fix that as well. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. But yeah, just a new locomotion system, new arm system, and a few bugs that came with that I need to fix. But yeah, I will see you in the next devlog.